Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review as well as a mini demo of the brand new Huda Beauty Empowered eyeshadow palette. Come on you guys, you knew I was going to get it. You know how much I love Huda Beauty's eyeshadow palettes. I've got all of the large ones. So this retails at £58 and altogether you get 18 eyeshadows within it. Well, most of them are eyeshadows and we will get into that in a minute. So first off, this is what the box looks like depending on what angle you look at it at. It's just a normal cardboard box, and then we have the actual eyeshadow palette itself. So it's made with durable, hard wearing, easy to travel kind of plastic. And the different thing about this eyeshadow palette that Huda has announced is that even though you can see the image of her eyes on here, these little designs on here is actually a QR code. Now, I've not actually tried the QR code yet, so I wanted to try it online with you guys. All right, so let's try this out with my phone. Come on. Why are you not working? Am I supposed to hold it upside down? Am I supposed to hold it like this? Anyway, moving swiftly on, you open it up inside, and here are all 18 of the eyeshadows. Ooh. Anyway, so like I said, this retails at £58 for 18 eyeshadows, and what it says on the back of this is empowered. Having the knowledge, confidence, means or ability to do things or make decisions for oneself. Know your worth and always be your #1 fan with the Empowered eyeshadow palette, inspired by your right to thrive as your best self. Look, feel and be empowered within a universe abundant in golds, coppers, browns and neutrals, expressed in matte, gel liner hybrid, wet look shimmer and foiled chrome metallic textures. Big dreams, manifest it. Bold moves, do it. Power, get it. I like that. Let's quickly look on Huda Beauty's website and see what they have written on there. Effortlessly easy to apply, build and blend. This intensely pigmented palette is perfect for creating your everyday beat, a dramatic smoky eye, a rich metallic look, and so much more. Your options are limitless. Simply use a brush or your fingertips to apply. And in terms of shades, they've got a couple of things written about them. So there are 2 gel hybrid liner shadows. Super pigmented hybrid eyeshadow creams used as eyeshadows, liners or eyeshadow bases once set. 2 new high shine wet metallics, innovative wet metallic eyeshadows. 1 new crushed flake gold, extra luxurious crushed flake metallic shadow to add serious sparkle to your attitude. And 2 powder metallic soft shine metallic pearl shadows that build to a foil effect. 9 powder matte eyeshadows, intensely pigmented velvety soft mattes with a suede finish that you can seamlessly build and blend. So what are my thoughts about this eyeshadow palette? Well, obviously I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10 because I've already used it and oh my god, I love it. I love the fact that we have finally got something which is warm toned as well as cool as well. So it's not one or the other. There is not a single mauve in here for once, which is obviously great because it means that we can finally enjoy other eyeshadows by Huda Beauty. Now, in terms of the matte shadows, I agree they are buttery soft, easy to blend. The gel hybrid eyeliner shadows, I'm actually using one of them on my lower lash line and then I layered some eyeshadow over it. I think that they're quite nice, but they're just not intense enough for me. I prefer, as you guys can see and know about me by now, I like thick, dark, black, opaque. I do not like semi-opaque, which is pretty much what these eyeliners are. However, that's just my personal preference. That doesn't mean that this is a bad product. It just means that it doesn't cater to my needs specifically. The crushed flake gold is what I'm actually wearing on my inner tear duct, and oh my god you guys, fallout. There is a lot of fallout with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is intense, it is shiny, super flaky gold, but that also means that it's super flaky on my face. So bear in mind that if you are going to use that gold eyeshadow, which is called Charisma, you do need to make sure that you do the rest of your makeup later on, as opposed to the way that I tend to do. I do my base makeup first, then I do my eyeshadow, because what's happened is I've got little bits of gold specks on my face as a result of using that. The high shine wet metallics, I'm using one of them on my lid. I think, to be honest, I do struggle a little bit to kind of differentiate between the wet and the normal ones, because the normal metallics are just as intense and good. But then I guess when I swatch it on my arms in a minute, you guys will probably be able to see which ones are more intense than others. One thing I do have to say about this palette is that Every single matte bar one, which is called Confident, are very, very light. I'm a little bit surprised that Huda didn't put a couple more dark eyeshadows in here, because if you want to do a smoky eye, you've only got the shade Confident to use. You don't have any other shade to use. If you look at every single one of these mattes, they're all quite pale, they're all quite light. So I'm not sure how that is going to work with people who've got deeper skin tones, because on me, fine, they show up quite well because of the fact that I've got light medium skin tone. But if you've got much deeper skin tone than me, that means that only Confident is the only one that you can really use. The other ones will maybe come up a bit too light. Yes, we have got these two dark shades on the end, but those are the gel hybrid eyeshadow liners. They're not necessarily eyeshadow, and people won't always use it as eyeshadow because it takes time to blend these kind of creamy sort of products out. If you're in a rush in the morning, you need to get to work, you want to do your usual everyday look, you are not going to sit there for ages blending out a cream eyeshadow. You want something quick, fast, that you can just blend and go. So that is something that I would consider a slight negative. It would have been better if there were maybe one or two more deeper shades. In terms of the shimmery shades, there's a nice variety of golds and coppers and bronzy sort of shades. I have absolutely no issue with them. I think that they perform excellently. Very high shine, very metallic, very opaque, very in your face, beautiful. You can apply them as a very light wash of color, but then you can go in much more intense with your finger. Bear in mind, you can use your brush or your finger, but applying these kind of foil shadows with a brush means that you won't get the same intensity as you do with your finger. Your brush will contain a lot of the product and sheer it out, whereas your finger will apply it directly, as opaque as it is in the pan itself. That is why I have used it on my eyelids today with my finger, and then I just tied it around the edges with a brush. So let's get into the swatches now of all of these colors. So excited. So let's start off with this first shade right here called Purpose. Okay, so this is the shade Purpose. This is one of the gel hybrid eyeliners. As you can see, it's not very opaque. It's quite glossy and slightly sheer as well. So this will work well for those of you that like softer eyeliners, or for those of you that want a black base underneath your eyeshadow. I would not advise using this just as an eyeshadow on its own, because it's just much too, as you can see, it's very, very sheer. And next up, we've got this foiled shadow here called Courageous. It's a very pretty, almost duochrome-y, plummy, purpley kind of shade. You can imagine layering it on top of that. It would look amazing. Next up, we've got this shade here called Limitless. This one is a stunning deepened gold, very opaque, quite flaky, not as much as the one that I've got on my tear duct, but still very high shine and opaque. This shade is called Confident. This one is a matte deep burgundy brown shade, very opaque as you can see. Now we've got the flaky culprit called Charisma. So this one is the crushed flake gold eyeshadow. So it's very, very sparkly, very opaque, does get everywhere, but it's totally worth it. I love the color, and the opacity is actually amazing. The flakes are now obviously all over my eyeshadow, as you can see, but we will keep going, as the name of this next shade is. This one is a matte color, as you can see. It's a beautiful teddy bear brown, classic everyday caramel shade that everyone can use on a daily basis. This shade is called Big Dreams. Oh, I take it back. She has snuck a slight mauvey one in there, but it is a mauvey taupe shade. So this one is cool toned, whereas that one is its counterpart is warm toned. So for those of you that want to go for a more cool toned look, you will love this. As you can see, matte, fully opaque. Now this shade is called Manifest It. If you look up close, you can see it's a very unique shade. There's actually a gloss running through the middle. So this is actually a gloss hybrid shadow. Oh my God, you guys, Huda has killed it. This is amazing. Look at how thick and opaque that is. Stunning. It's like a peachy, bronzy kind of color. Absolutely gorgeous. And the way that it feels, I can't even describe it. It's like applying thick butter onto my arm. This shade here is called Bold Moves. That's actually what I'm wearing on my lid. This is another wet metallic shade. Again, oh my God, you guys, look at it. It is so thick and intense and opaque. It's a gorgeous golden ivory shade. Oh my God, it's stunning. Look at it. This shade here is called Do It. This one is another super intense foiled shade. It's a very unique kind of shade. It's almost like a pinky coppery color. Again, fully opaque. This shade here is called Power. Now this one is a very pale matte peach shade. This won't necessarily show up on everybody. It might work well as a transitional blending shade. However, it is very, very opaque. This shade is called Get It. Another stunningly intense, very opaque matte shade, and this one is obviously a deeper orangey kind of coral color. Moving back down to the other hybrid gel color, this is called Worthy. This one actually comes out darker than it shows in the pan. This is more of a charcoaly kind of brown shade, but as you can see, it is just as opaque as the first one in that it is semi-sheer. This shade here is called Rebel. Another beautiful matte shade. This one is a cool toned, kind of mid-toned pink shade. Again, very opaque and easy to blend. This shade here is called Winner. This is another intense buttery matte shade. It's like a mid-tone grey. Next up, we've got this marbly kind of foiled shadow called Visionary. Despite the fact that this is a foiled one, this one is definitely not as intense as the others. However, it is still very opaque. It's just that it's quite a light colour. It's like a peachy pink. This shade is called Best Self. This is another matte shade, another matte orange shade, but obviously you can see that this one is slightly darker, but it would obviously be great to kind of layer those shades. Very opaque and easy to blend. And last but not least is the shade on the end called Legacy. Now, the very intense matte shade, and as you can see, this one is like a reddish brown. And here are all of the 18 colors all together. As you can see, there's quite a variety of shades in there. You can go from daytime looks to nighttime looks to everyday looks. Personally, I'm very, very happy with this palette. Right, so that's it for all the swatches. And trust me, they're not easy to remove, you know. So it just goes to show the quality of these eyeshadows is very, very high quality in that they don't just crease, flake off, rub off, that sort of thing. The one thing I do have to say about Huda Beauty as a brand is that they're very innovative, they're very on trend, and they're always trying to do something different. Now, obviously the QR code didn't work. That was a bit of a fail. Obviously, we've got the cream gel hybrid liners. We've got the gel kind of mix of eyeshadow, very high shine. Very, very happy with it. I give this palette a 10 out of 10. It's absolutely excellent. So many people will love this for the upcoming holiday seasons, for Halloween even, everyday kind of wear to work, to school, to college, nighttime looks. You can even use this for wedding looks, Asian bridal kind of looks, especially with the golds that are in there. Very classic South Asian bride. Personally, I couldn't be happier with this palette, and I think that if any of you are in the market for a new eyeshadow palette, you will definitely love this. I like the mix of cool shadows as well as warm tone shadows. Personally, I would have probably liked a few more browns in there. I feel that there are quite a lot of oranges, but not really that many browns. And I also feel that there should have been one or two more deeper shades so that you can actually smoke out looks. There's only one shadow for you to do that, and that's a deep burgundy shade. Now, I really like the way that the matte shadows performed. They blended very easily on my eyes. I was able to create this stunning look that you can see on my eyes today. The one thing you do need to bear in mind with these foiled shadows is that they are very, very delicate. I've already made quite a bit of a mess on my palette by pressing my finger slightly too hard into the shadows, and it's caused the shadows to shift around in the palette itself. That's not an issue with the palette. That's just how soft and buttery that these foiled shadows are. So you do need to bear that in mind when applying it directly from your finger onto your eyes. The hybrid shadows, like I said, I used the dark brown one on my lower lash line. It blended out very easily, and it's great to use as a base kind of shade. Personally, it's not an eyeliner shade for me, but I already explained that that's just not my personal preference. That doesn't mean that it won't work well for you. So that's it for my review of the brand new Huda Beauty Empowered eyeshadow palette. Absolutely love it. So happy with it. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.